manifolds, motorcycle jackets, and shovels and spades. Caviar is a term for the salted eggs of the sturgeon fish. A pearly delicacy, they've long been the snack food of the privileged, enjoyed for centuries by Roman emperors, Saudi sheiks, Russian tsars, and English kings. A few nibbles still offer a taste of the high life. Caviar is sometimes called black gold. No wonder. A teaspoon of fish eggs costs more than a meal at some family restaurants. For most of us, a little caviar is a big splurge. Overfishing has depleted wild Siberian sturgeon stocks. So, at this hatchery in the southern United States, they farm the species for their eggs and flesh. They feed the young fish high-protein pellets. The juvenile sturgeon fish need constant nourishment to develop. A computerized system dispenses feed every 4 minutes. As the fish grow larger, the feeding schedule ratchets down a bit. The fish produce tiny metabolites that are toxic to them. Those are filtered out by bacteria introduced for this purpose. The staff routinely test the tank water to ensure the bacteria are doing their job adequately. After a few months of growth, they transfer the fish to larger tanks. Here, mesh drums filter the solid waste they produce. Pumps constantly circulate the water to move it through plastic nuggets that house the all-important filtering bacteria. Circulating the water also disperses carbon dioxide gas emitted by the fish and introduces oxygen, which they need to survive and thrive. Ordinary molasses injected into the tanks is consumed by the beneficial bacteria, helping them to process the harmful metabolites produced by the fish. After 5 to 7 years of growth, the fish are at least a meter in length, and they should be full of eggs. Workers transfer them to tubs and mix in a gas to put the fish to sleep. Now sedated, the fish can be more easily handled and are taken to the ultrasound station. Using high-frequency sound waves, they probe the sturgeon's ovaries. This gives them a clear picture of her egg production. She should contain tens of thousands of eggs. If not, she'll go back into the tank to mature some more. But if she's ready, they'll harvest the ovaries. They clean the egg-laden ovaries and transfer them by the bagful to a chilled room with filtered air. This is just one of the Siberian sturgeon's 2 ovaries, and it's a massive row, fish eggs that are about to become pure caviar. They're extremely fragile and need careful handling to separate them from the membrane. This worker gently rubs the eggs against a mesh screen. She sets the tissue aside for composting and lifts the screen, revealing the thousands of delicate sturgeon eggs. But this caviar isn't quite ready yet. She now rinses the eggs repeatedly with cold water to wash away impurities like bits of broken eggs and tissue residue. Using tweezers, she picks out remaining specks of membrane and crushed egg remnants until what's left is pure and perfect. She pours the eggs into a fine mesh colander. The volume decreases as the water drains off. She weighs the drained caviar and seasons it with salt, measuring an amount that's about 3.5% of the caviar's weight. This precise salting maximizes the caviar's flavor and substantially improves shelf life. She puts the eggs on ice for about 6 minutes to absorb the salt. The salt draws out more moisture, so she drains it one more time. A worker blots up remaining moisture with a highly absorbent paper towel. Another worker pulls away the towel gently, leaving the pearls of caviar intact. She packs it into a lacquer-lined tin and presses down the clusters of eggs to eliminate any air pockets, which would cause oxidation and spoilage. She seals the tin with a thick band of rubber. This caviar has been many years in the making. Farm-produced, no wild fish were destroyed to get these eggs to market. And that means they should appeal to a growing appetite for something a little more sustainable.
Strides for Change, an annual 5K run and walkathon. Help raise awareness to stop impaired driving and raise funds to support the victims of this violent crime. Together, we can make a change. Strides for Change. Visit mad.ca.
At Moores, our expert stylists can help you put together looks that get noticed at our buy one get one free event. Plus, suits and suits.
Oh, it's made fun.
$49.99 and designer dress shirts are just $49.99. Moores, tailored for Canada. I was thinking super glue brush.
I like the nozzle.
Brush.
Nozzle.
So
nozzle.
Gorilla super glue. Brush and nozzle.
Of course.
Brush for edge-to-edge coverage and nozzle for precise application, all in one for the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
When pain gets in the way of a good night's sleep, you're not all there. Tylenol Nighttime relieves pain to help you fall asleep and give you a better night so you can enjoy a better morning. Tylenol.
It's easy to make a great thing even better with Subway's Delicious Duo. Like this turkey breast sub. Looks great. And now it looks even better. There are any of our 8-ounce soups with a 6-inch Italian BMT.
Comment down in below if you like Subway, because I do.
He loves making our home ours.
Tonight we're hosting our sci-fi movie marathon.
After the pipe burst, we thought we'd have to cancel.
But Intact Insurance was beaming us claim updates to our transponders.
He made cell phones. So we knew everything would be back to normal.
They made us feel like we matter.
Permission to come aboard?
With text updates, you always know the status of your claim. Intact Insurance. Talk to your broker.
So we just have these last forms for you to fill out?
Dad!
Hey, honey. Hey, you are?
Oh, this is Luke. He's actually my...
How long have you two been,
Oh, I'm her BMO mortgage specialist.
Funny guy.
No, Dad. He is my mortgage specialist.
We meet our clients where it's convenient for them.
Oh, no, that's just a pen.
I'm gonna go get your mother.
When a mortgage specialist comes to you, that's the BMO effect. BMO, we're here to help.
NBC Gold, all new. Monday at 9 Eastern, only on Discovery.
Yes, it's back on.
The intake manifold distributes the air and fuel mixture to the engine's cylinders. Inside, a spark plug ignites the mix, setting off a combustion cycle which propels the vehicle. For optimal performance and efficiency, the manifold must distribute to all cylinders evenly. Whether in an engine with a carburetor like this one, or in a newer technology fuel-injected engine, the manifold's tubes, called intake runners, feed the fuel and air mixture to the engine cylinder heads. The manifold is made from long blocks of extruded aluminum. First, a computer-guided saw cuts each block to the required length. Metal cutting metal produces a lot of friction-generated heat. A steady stream of water-based coolant and lubricant prevents the saw blade from overheating and breaking down. A computer-guided machine shapes the block from multiple angles, transforming it into the rough form of one of the manifold's two sides, called banks. Later, this bank, which has 4 ports for runners, will be mated with the opposing bank, which has another 4 ports for runners. The machine now shapes the inside of the runner ports, which are curved and tapered in a very specific way. banks come off the machine with some rough edges. A machinist smooths them out with a handheld grinder, a process called deburring. Once the banks are finished, they go on to a flow testing machine. It measures the airflow in cubic feet per minute in each port. To achieve maximum efficiency, each port must have the same amount of air moving through it at the same speed. The runners have been machined separately. A quality control technician runs a file over the runners and the banks to check for any imperfections. He then cleans all the surfaces with solvent. The aluminum must be free of any oils or other contaminants prior to welding. It's finally time to mate the two banks. Workers mount them on a mock-up engine in order to get the fit exact. Then temporarily bolt them down to hold their position. Now a welder takes over. Using a high-precision welding machine, he first tacks the banks to each other in a few spots to secure the positioning. Then he fully welds them together. Next, he attaches the intake runners to the ports. A light tap to make the tongue and groove connection, followed by welding along their perimeter. A manifold has one intake runner for each cylinder of the engine. This one's designed for a fuel-injected V8 engine. Therefore, it has 8 runners. Once all the runners are welded on, he closes up the manifold with front, back, and top panels. He welds these parts as well. Next, workers mount the fuel rails, which send fuel to the injectors. The injectors go on afterward. This is a high-performance manifold with a built-in nitrous oxide system. These are the stainless steel feed lines for it. Nitrous oxide is a